Hey everybody! So back in February during one of our live events, someone asked the question, can you play metal on a Stratocaster? Now, typically when you think of metal guitars, you're thinking of designs like the Warlock, Flying V, Gibson Les Paul, that kind of sort of stuff. And they're usually loaded with active pickups or humbuckers to say the least. But what about the Stratocaster, which has got to be one of the most popular electric guitars in existence even to this day. And it's used in virtually every genre from jazz to blues and country and yes, even heavy metal. So the Strat was designed all the way back in 1954 and it featured several key developments. The first of which is that it was the first guitar to feature a three-way pickup selector and featured three pickups, one in the bridge, one in the middle, and one in the neck. Guitar players quickly learned that if you left the pickup selector in between the first and second pickups, you could get a very smooth yet twangy sound, and this was made popular by guitar players like Mark Knopfler and David Gilmour. Secondly, it featured a double cutaway design, above and below the neck, making it easier to access the higher frets, especially when playing guitar solos. Third, it featured a mounted floating bridge design which allowed for the use of a whammy bar, which let players modulate the pitch of notes up and down without moving their finger position. Now, because of the design features such as a bolt-on neck and a recessed detachable jack, the guitar was very easy to assemble and mass produce. You could even say it's like the AK-47 of electric guitars. It's also very customizable. In fact, the neck itself was designed as a bolt-on because the thought process was that instead of having to refret the guitar, you could just swap the neck out when the frets wore down. Now, by the end of the 50s, the Strat was quickly becoming a prominent guitar in the burgeoning rock and blues scenes. The guitar rocketed into popularity, especially after becoming the favorite of pioneering rock guitarist Jimi Hendrix, and continues to be used by rock players the world over. History lesson aside, Strats are known for sounding terrific when playing clean or slightly dirty riffs for blues, jazz, and classic rock. But what about metal? Can the Strat stand up to the tonal demands of high-gain guitar playing? Sure, the guitar was good enough for guys like Buddy Holly, Jimi Hendrix, Clapton, that sort of thing, but those guys weren't playing Swedish death metal. Now, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden are two incredibly influential metal bands that use Strats on some of metal's most important records. On Screaming for Vengeance, they used a 78 maple-necked black and mirror-plated Fender Strat, which Glenn Tipton called his Fierce guitar, and Dave Murray from Iron Maiden used a Strat with HSH pickups, supposedly owned by Paul Kossoff from the band Free on the first 4 or 5 Maiden albums. From a guitar playing perspective, Ritchie Blackmore and Uli Jon Roth in the 70s and Yngwie Malmsteen in the 80s helped push metal playing guitar to new extremes using Strats. But do any metal players actually use them today, or are they just the granddaddy of electric guitars? Now, Obituary and Sepultura come to mind, but those are more, 90s, early 2000s, but I'm not completely certain about the modern stuff, so let me know in the comments below if you've got any recommendations. Of course, who uses the guitar doesn't really mean a whole lot. What we really care is about how does it sound in metal. For this test here, we're going to be using 3 Strats with different pickups. A Strat with a humbucker, a Strat with a hot rail, which is essentially a humbucker jammed into the size of a single coil, and a Stratocaster knockoff called a Stage with a single coil pickup in the bridge. All these guitars will be going into my Generator 120 using the red channel with the same amp settings, same mic, same cabinet, same everything. The only thing changing is the guitar. On guitar for this little demo is Mr. Martin Kallenfors, I hope I pronounced that right, dude, who's on vacation this summer in North America, coming all the way from Sweden. He's a fan of the channel and wanted to drop by the studio, so we've got him helping out on this one. Check it out. As you can hear, the humbucker and hot rail sounded pretty damn good playing these riffs. The two pickups and guitars accented different frequencies, and the hot rail definitely had something going on a little different in the mids. The stage, on the other hand, sounded not so great. And although it's difficult to say it's because of the pickups or just because of the electronics in general, because this guitar was a really cheap knockoff. Regardless, it had a certain quacking sound that doesn't really lend itself to the metal genre. Of course, none of this means anything without hearing it in a mix, so I brought in Brandon Wright and Chris Rafinski to play guitar on this using the Strat with the hot rail. Brandon's playing rhythm and bass, and Chris is playing lead, and we've also got Jackson Ward on drums. Check this out. So what's the final verdict? The Strats with the humbuckers sounded and played great for metal. In particular, I really like the hot rail. Now there's a certain legacy here with Strats and you really can't go wrong. I'm not sure if anyone's playing gent on Strats these days. Again, if you've got any suggestions for somebody to check out, please leave a comment below. But honestly, I really dug just the clarity, especially in the lead tones. I mean, like I was doing a lead on a project with a band not too recently, and we were trying to get something, and the guitar player had a real nasal attack, and we were just trying to get rid of that. And after trying just about every guitar in the studio, we wound up picking up that hot rail Strat and plugged it into a PV Windsor and just got a beautiful lead sound with it. So there you go. I mean, like even as a studio owner, I think I might pick up a Strat at some particular time, just so I've got one in the arsenal, because you never know when it's going to be the right thing for a particular project. Thanks for watching, guys. Please support the channel. You can get a Rule Number 2 shirt in the description below. I'll see you next time.